Hello, hello to everybody. We just wait 1 second that everybody comes in. You're a good group also today. Always happy to have you here. So first of all, I'm just just saluting you, and I just want to give the pass the lead to this connection to Giorgio. Giorgio, are you here?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
So here, and there's also Giacomo in the background that helped us here. But Giorgio, you can go and lead the conversation as always.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Maria Vittoria, and thanks everybody, of course, for your participation. We'll try to cover as much as possible whatever is left in the short period of time. We have a lot of people here. Is probably going to be one of our last, if not the last. We're going to suspend a little bit for the summers, and we are thinking on how to resume it and when. So if you guys in the meantime think about and can give us some suggestion and idea, it would certainly be more than welcome. We squeezed everything we can out of Palladio. I don't know what else Giacomo can do out of this, but hopefully you appreciated the work that he has done so far. So just diving into that, in this presentation, of course, we got to start from Palladio because it's our protagonist and hero of this event. But in these today, we're going to talk about a few other artists, starting even in the medieval times with Benedetto Antelami and Donatello, that were even before Palladio, and then Antonio Canova, Leone Lodi, Mimmo Palladino, and even Mario Botta, which are more of nowadays architects and artists. Among all of these, we still think that Palladio will remain the main user protagonist and the main legacy that is always given to the stone, because it's the one that use it in the most extensive way, architecturally, architectonically, and again, without going too much into the details, here are the couple of his masterpieces. We covered this in the previous webinars. I don't think it's necessary to spend too much time into this, other than just name Palazzo Chiericati and Basilica Palladiana. They are all inside on a walking distance of Vicenza downtown area, and in particularly, we want to highlight here the decoration that he used, because we already discussed how he built these with the stone, but now we'll see here the details of the columns and even the bas relief and the in the ceiling of the use of the Pietra di Vicenza. At the same time, for the decoration that were done by others, is this sculpture that are on top of the buildings that using the same stones sort of give a common thread with the facade of the buildings. On the exterior, sorry, on the outside, on the opposite side of the Basilica Palladiana in Piazza dei Signori, we have this Church of San Vincenzo, where originally we had these three statues that were originally outside. The author is still unknown, but now they are positioned inside. We know that are Pietra di Vicenza statues. But the very first application and use of Pietra di Vicenza was actually what I said from Benedetto Antelami. He lived in the 1150 and died in 1230. And he used primarily for decoration and statues. That it was actually the use, there was majority exploited for this kind of stone before Palladio actually took it to the full extent of architecture. So Antelami did most of his work actually in the Emilia area, which is where I come from, just an hour south of Vicenza, the Verona regions. And these statues is called the Virgin Mary with the Child. Actually has a different twist, because it's used this marmo brunito, which is a technique that has been used, and we see different pictures that probably show the effect better on, but give this brown or dark effect to the stone. It was basically achieved with staining the stone with ashes, so that the porosity of the stone absorb the dark of the ashes and give these darker images. Antalani worked not only in Fidenza, which is the church here, but also in the Dome of Parma, but also in, sorry, I went too far out, but also in the door of San Luca in San Marco Square. Then we go to Donatello. It's not this one that we are referring to, but more Donato di Niccolò, which is more known as Donatello. And here we are jumping 200 years later. He was born in Florence, and so we are basically closer to the Renaissance. And he used a lot of.
Non sono più capace, buono. Scusami, sai, perché volevo.
Okay. He worked a lot in the different republics that were available, that were existing at the time. So we're talking about the Vatican, we're talking about Siena, which was a pretty powerful republic that together with Florence, sort of, and we saw this in, I think it was in the second webinar or the third, were confronting the Venice Republic. He's most known for his statues, but most of his work are actually bas relief. And we see here the deposition of Christ, and is situated in the Basilica of Padua. And again, we see that the stone here, although, what we know, our typical stone is more into the white and beige stone, here again, with this technique of the Brunito, is giving these darker shades of browns. This is another example, and you see also the church where the stone is located. And you can see that it's a sort of a reproduction and imitation of bronze. And we assume this was one of the reasons, bronze was kind of expensive. So doing the same thing in stone and making it look like a bronze is sort of giving the same aesthetic effect. We jump to, again, another 200 years, and we're going to Antonio Canova, which we are, of course, more into the neoclassical kind of sculptures, and he's definitely more famous and very famous for his statues. He's also from the Tuscany regions, so he used a lot of what we see, the Carrara marble, because like Palladio did with Pietra di Vicenza at the time, and nowadays it's still the same things. We tend to use what is the most local material. So majority of his art pieces are, we see here Cupid and the Psyche on top, the three graces here in the bottom, and the Teseo and the Minotaurs. But also we have Paolina Bonaparte, which was, kind of a famous art piece, not only for the craftsmanship that he used into carving this marble, but also the figures of these important public figures with such a personnel and posing, basically half nude in front of Canova. And here we see is actually one of the first statues, and what is amazing, not only that is Pietra di Vicenza, but he carved this statue when he was 18 and 19 years old, so in his very young career. This is actually at the Museo del Correr. It's the main building in front of San Luca in San Marco Square, Venice, of course. Other details, and you can see also with the Vicenza stone how I don't know where we get this mark. Sorry, I apologize for the mark on the video. I don't know if you see the blue things. It's not intentional. You can see that the hair also had this very strong effect, and again, because of the detailing and the hardness of the material. We are almost coming to our days, and we are in the 1900s, and this is Leone Lodi. Leone worked primarily in Milan, and it's been very active in sculptures that primarily adornated and decorated the lobby and buildings in the Milan area. This is Donna Seduta, and it was done in 1933 for the Triennale in Milano in Palazzo dell'Arte, which is situated in Parco Sempione, one of the main park actually in Milan. the building, the statues was actually outside because of the exhibition, and now you can find it inside in the lobby. In the same exhibition in 1933, we see Mario Sironi, which is also the architect that designed the entrance, and you can see these arches, ornamental arches. These were only for the exhibition. The view of the building nowadays is the one that you see on the bottoms. For the same building, but in 1973, we have an art by Giorgio De Chirico, which is probably more famous. At least I learned it. I remember him more for his paintings, but definitely also this pool that remind a lot of this surrealistic art and the mannequins that trade that he used to work. This is all down in Pietra di Vicenza, like all the other pieces that we've seen so far. And what is unique about this one, here is other details, is that they use, I believe, 30 tons of material and was installed in 35 days, so very short period of time. We are coming actually here in New York City. This is a statue from Mimmo Palladino, and is at the Metropolitan Museum in New York City. I think this is a good example to reproduce or to give you an idea of the artist here. You would probably think by the by the stylization of this male torso that is more of an Etruscan sculptures. And this figure sort of, welcomes with these outstretched arms, but this invitation is probably more a macabre one that is welcoming, especially with these eyes missing and the white of the Bianco Avorio is giving this sort of a ghostly appearance to the statues. And we don't have the back, but the back of the statues is actually sort of wounded and bloodied red marks, like it's been flagellation. So definitely a lot of pain inspired by these statues. On the other hand, the same artist also came up with this idea called dormienti, which basically means people sleeping. And we are in Villa Pisani, a Stra. So we are going back into our regions near Vicenza, where we have these sculptures that are sleeping and are actually accompanied with other 12 statues that are at the entrance. We'll see a little bit on. These are called testimoni, still from the same artist. And they were positioned in sort of a semicircle at the entrance of the villa, sort of a welcoming to the visitors. And at the same time, is giving you this perspective that these people that are inhabiting the villa and these modern statues sort of blending with the historical statue that you see here surrounding the villa. So the visitor always kind of seems to find somebody living and popping up at the last minute from somewhere. Here we are going to Trento, to Rovereto. It's a small town near Trento in the north of Italy. And this is a better image of this testimony, where we see these figures sort of standing up, and again, this circle geometry that in this case also replicate the main square, the agora, that Mario Botta, the artist, used for this building. Here we are at the entrance of the Museum of the Mart. Here is a better view from the museum. And the idea of Mario Botta, and this is basically, I'm quoting his words, was to reproduce a sort of pantheon without the entrance. The main challenge that he faced, this is why he had this open glass ceiling and a lot of steel to support that, but everything else here is Vicenza stone. But the main challenge of Mario Botta was actually the location of this building. It's barely seeable here, but you can see in this Google map shot, this is the location of the building, and it's right behind two major ancient buildings that are the one that you can see here at the entrance, that could not be removed. So the mart was sort of kind of overshadowed by these two other buildings. And what he did, he actually tried to use this small alley, sort of an entryway that accompany you into the entrance of the museum. And that's why he sort of removed figuratively the facade of the Pantheon to make you enter inside the museum. We have completed pretty much the sort of the historical, the more generic use of the Vicenza stone, and we are showing you here more of our grassy exhibition of grassy art pieces designed by different designers. We are here in 2008, and this was an exhibition for Salone del Mobile by Stefano Giovagnoni. He's an Italian designer that kind of want to reproduce the idea of the desert. Here, the other view of the same exhibition. Then in 2009, similar idea is more, and we're going more, of course, in interior finishes here, is a project for bathrooms, floor and wall, but also separations. And you can see not only the details and the carving of the stone, but also we can use it as furniture pieces and sinks. 2009 for Salone, so still for Salone del Mobile, Patricia Urquiola, by her definition, Spanish by birth and Italian by choice. She graduated in Milan at the Politecnico. And she's been collaborated with many different manufacturers like Lissoni, Moroso, primarily in the furniture, but also in stone, as you can see here. And this is how we achieve these complex architectures of the pieces in our shops. Still are a foreign or mix of foreign and Italian designer, Setsu and Shinobu Ito. From the name you can guess those are Japanese, and they share basically their design between Milan and Tokyo since the 1997. And most of their work are actually a permanent collection in the Modern Art Museum in Munich, on top of the one in Milan. This was supposed to be, actually the idea is more of a bathroom setting and a spa, but in particular the shelves here are often being used, and we have been asked to use also in stores and boutiques as a shelves. Here is a more example of how to create it, and the bathtub here is a massive one carved of a single piece. This is basically our product sheets because these, yes, in a way they are art pieces, but at the same time they are industrial manufactured pieces. So what we want to show you here is how we achieve the design. So starting, basically we don't have it here, but starting from the sketch and the original idea of the designers, how we industrialize this, how we conceptualize and basically put into production, and at the same time, how can we price if people want, the customer want to reproduce the exact same figures, or even for the installer, how to install it once the project is being commissioned. So this is sort of our, not sort of, the product sheet of our catalog. Sorry, again, I'm jumping too fast. The presentation being so heavy, sometimes there's a little bit of a lag, and I apologize. Let me just go back to, okay, to the original one. Table from, again, Massimo Iosa and other designers. This was designed for Marmo Mac 2016. You can see this table is a very simple, but at the same time very elegant. It's made of 3 individual pieces, so it was relatively simple to ship and to produce and to assemble on site. still maintaining the idea of having sort of a monolithic piece once everything is assembled as per specification. A different kind of table, probably a bit simpler, Marmomat 2017, so a year later. This is by Aldo Fioravanti. And I want to finish with this Pietra Spacco, so split face stone with moss. That was again another exhibition, and this is another way of decorating facades or walls, interior and exterior. This was for Salone del Mobile in 2013. The reason why I kind of want to finish with this one, and these are just a few examples of what you will see, is because it's also been used as the cover page of our catalogs, which is available if you're interested in seeing more pieces. I just couldn't put everything into here. Before letting you go, I just also want to mention that we have done this competition for young sculpture in 2015, and what we did here basically, 2015. We gave to different designers and artists a piece of stone that they will have to shape it in different forms. And again, it's first of all, is to give them opportunity to create something. And these, I think, are pretty amazing pieces of what they came out to. Give us idea on how to reproduce and, try to develop also design and creativity into these people. Gian Domenico Sandri, this is between a sort of an art piece and the, the decorative one. We call it the thinker and the hug. And when we finish all of this, this is where we typically, store for now or showcase these pieces that were not being used in different exhibitions. We have some of our quarry, and for those of you that attended, I believe it was the first webinar that I did talking about the silent cathedrals. All of our quarry are actually underground, and so we sort of have the luxury that now the ones that are pretty much all exploited becomes a sort of a storage place, and is a pretty unique storage place. So it's not just a warehouse like anybody would think, but it's more like an amazing place where you can keep these sculpture or art pieces, whether they are created or open, but basically in its original settings. And this where you really live and breathe the stone and where we come from. And this is why I want to, copy again some of these pictures. For those of you that were with us a few months ago, they will probably remember these images. And typically this is when, especially in conjunction with Marmomat, and it's something that we had the idea of doing this year, but unfortunately that has been canceled too because of COVID. Hopefully soon we can still travel again and recongregate, and the idea is to have an event. We renovated the showroom, so we have to inaugurate this. We only did it virtually. Will be a great opportunity to have everybody in our villa. Villa Barbaran is another reason why we like to discuss and give a little word. I would probably let Giacomo speak about that. Giacomo, let me know if you want to intervene or say something about this project.
Yeah, thank you, Giorgio. Can you give me the screen before I talk about Villa Barbaran?
Yep. So let me stop sharing this.
Yep. Thank you. Are you able to see the screen?
No.
No? Mm-hmm. Just 1 second.
Okay.
No?
It's good.
It's okay?
Yes.
So thank you everyone. Sorry. Thank you for your patience. We are now at the end of this journey about Palladio, and I hope Netflix will create a series about it so I can get easy money. But we would like to really say thank you to all of you that have attended with these webinars, and we have to say a little we are sorry because to all you ladies, because we realized our slides were very male oriented. So we have really tried and searched for girls in the field of the classical sculpture, but the examples were very few and no one linked to the Pietra di Vicenza. So we would like to present just a little contribution to women that give a very big big sign in the field of the sculpture during the centuries. And so we would like to say thank you in somehow. This is Properzia de Rossi, born in Bologna in 1390. And she had very troubled life, of course, because she were born in a man's world, but at the end she succeeded. This is Camille Claudel, Rodin's pupil. You can admire now her masterpieces at Musée d'Orsay. Quite dramatic as well. But this is Margaret Hafner, Antonietta Raphael, Lea Berliaschi, Barbara Hempford, Louise Bourgeois, Lila Pell, Maria Montoya Martinez, Caterina Corbo, Germaine Richer. This is Nikki de Senfeld. She created a huge garden in Tuscany. This is Germaine Richer, Elizabeth Cutlet Mora, Marta Magdalena Abramovich, Lee Botancourt, and Maya Lin. So this is, we would like to say thank you to all the ladies who have attended our webinars, and thank you to the ladies that give us these masterpieces. But at the end, we would like to finish with the Villa Barbaran, our last project, and that really needs a refresh. And we are happy to say that for this big project, we have asked the contribution of 2 girls. But now it's the turn of Maria Vittoria to say goodbye for the moment. And once again, thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Giacomo, and well,
you're welcome.
Thank you to you and to Giorgio, because if it wasn't for you, well, this webinar wouldn't have happened, actually. Listen, it's the only way we had to keep in contact while we were grounded in Italy. We hope that things slowly are, I wouldn't say improving, but at least are not getting so much worse. So there will be a time where we will be able to connect again. I'd like to thank you anyway, all the people who have joined this webinar, and I feel this is a kind of a community right now. I really enjoyed getting to know you also only through Zoom for the moment, and we hope we can keep in touch, and just drop us a line by email telling us what you liked, especially about this webinar. As you understand, right now we're heading towards summer holidays. They will be a little bit strange this year, but there will be a kind of a stop for just a few weeks. So we are not doing any webinar in August. I think we will start again, Giacomo permitting, in September when we're back. And that's a time where we will have to think how we are going out with this community which has created. What's the best way for you to keep in touch with us? Which are the nice and interesting things we'd like to discuss with you about your projects, about how you're using stone. And we're also, what we're doing here in Italy is also doing one-to-one webinar with some architectural office discussing their own projects. I mean, especially how they want it to be done. That's an idea. But we're open to any kind of proposal you have. So any kind of need you would think it's interesting, just drop us a line by email to me, to Giorgio, to Giacomo. Keep in touch, because I think we have created something really interesting. That was a nice time to discuss, to talk, to remember what we have done. Also, I mean, many years ago or also lately, and we hope to keep going, you know, keep doing things together. So Giorgio, thanks again. And I don't know if there is anybody who wants to tell something about that, Giorgio.
Well, I want to thank you too for the opportunity. I kind of enjoyed preparing. At the beginning, it was a little bit challenging. Giacomo really gave me a lot of support in that, and I really enjoyed. I learned a lot too. I refreshed a lot of my study. I wasn't a good student back then, and I kind of regret it. So a good opportunity to catch up. That's pretty much it on my side. Thanks everybody for coming, and I hope to see you soon in person and in September again on Zoom.
This is Carol Kelly again. May I make another comment as I did last time?
Absolutely, Carol.
And I want to thank Giacomo for contacting me about Villa, because he knows of my interest in Villa Fornicerato. In the meantime, I pursued your report, Maria Vittoria, about your work on the main fountain garden in Philadelphia. It was partly for personal reasons. I have grandchildren who live there now, and a relative who's now deceased lived at Longwood Gardens. But the connection I'm making now is that the fact that your stone is in such a significant setting in the United States, and the stone and you are from the Veneto region. And what I am trying to do is to, as I think Gary Paul is, to stir more interest in the United States in architectural and art and public areas, in just that simple connection between the Veneto and some of much of our colonial American architecture. So I'm just throwing that out there, as I have been doing this for a couple of years now. I have no program in place other than contact with people like you and with Giacomo and the people at Villa Forni. I encourage us all to, again, when we get out of the hole we are in here in the United States, we can pick these threads up and move forward with them. And thank you very much for the effort of your firm in moving this whole idea along. Thank you.
Good. Well, thank you. Thank you for your participation. The feedback is important. I think I can speak for Grazi. The more we can exploit this and connect into other way. When we started this, we didn't even know we were going to do this. I think we achieved something that we were not even thinking at the beginning. We were sort of playing around like, well, let's do something. Let's come up with something. And quite honestly, I mean, there's a pretty good bunch of followers that remain across these few months. We want to capitalize on top of that, and of course expand the reach and make it interesting for everybody, and make it, of course, connected to what we are doing. Because we are, at the bottom line, we are stone manufacturers selling stone, and art and architectural passionate.
That one more comment, that aspect that you are still doing what you did in, in Palladio's time, what was done in Palladio's time, that you are cutting and carving and installing stone. That I think would be a somewhat magical feature for Americans to connect to observe, to think about, since we have so little of that, long continuance of artist or other human endeavor in our short history. So I think that could be a theme in what we might all pull together.
Perfect.
Thank you so much, and keep spreading the voice, because that's what we need. I mean, right now we cannot travel, so be our voice as much as you can.
I'm trying. Thank you.
Well, thank you, everybody. If you want to see some of these are available on the Atlantic Link website, as well as the Grazi Pietro website. If you want to reach out to us, you have all our contacts, and we look forward to seeing you soon online and in person.
Yeah, there is a person that just joined. It's so just repeat. You will find all the registered webinar, this one and also the past one, both in our website and in Giorgio's website. For us, it's in the download area, and I think there's an easy link also in Giorgio's website. Thank you so much to everybody for your time. So keep tuned. We will send you an email. That will be early September. Okay? And if you need anything in the meanwhile, we wait for your feedback anyway, and just let us know. Drop us an email. Okay? Thank you. Thank you again, George. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Grazie mille. Ciao, ciao.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Take care.